Whatever tax is collected, that will be divided for state as well as central. If you are selling the product from one state to another state, then it will attract IGST, Integrated Goods and Service Tax. Everybody pay the same tax, and even a poor to rich, rich to poor will pay the same tax. That is called as uniform tax structure. Increased tax revenue. The only revenue to the government is what? Tax. The tax revenue is increased with the help of GST. A warm welcome to one and all. This is your Adarsh sir, lecturer in Vidhyaashram, First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence. Today we are discussing Unit 2 and Session 1. It is all about goods and service tax. And as I told you, this is all about theory topic. And you have a small problems like, as I told you, it may be 2-mark problems or it may be 10-mark problems. Now, we will discuss goods and service tax framework and definitions. There are so many definitions are there. In that, 2 definitions will come for 2 marks each. The agenda for today's session, that will be Introduction to Goods and Service Tax. In the first unit already you learned what is goods and service tax, the types of tax, what is direct and what is indirect. But in this specifically we will learn about indirect tax. Your unit 1 talks about tax, but your unit 2 talks about only indirect tax. Now we will stop talking about direct tax. We will learn more about GST. Now, Introduction to Goods and Service Tax. Silent features of GST. Already you have learned the features of tax, but here you will learn the features of GST. And Constitution 101, 101st Amendments Act 2016. Even though 2017 the GST is introduced, but the amendment was passing before that. It started from 2000. From 2000 to 2017, they were passing the bills actually to execute the GST. What is GST? The advantages, this is your 10-mark question. They will ask you what are the advantages of GST and one nation, one tax. All over India, there is only one tax, that is called as GST. And dual GST model. These are the topics we are going to learn in today's session. The agenda for your GST, the first one, what is IGST, CGST, SGST and UTGST. You know that IGST, that is Integrated Goods and Service Tax, and CGST, that is Central Goods and Service Tax, SGST, that is a State Goods and Service Tax, UTGST, Union Territory Goods and Service Tax. So, in this, all the union territories. So, for union territories, we have a separate tax, that is UTGST. We can also call it as Unilateral Goods and Service Tax. Then, distribution of IGST and CGST. How your IGST and CGST is distributed. Then, advantages of dual GST, that is also one of the major topic actually. Impact of GST on the country, central government, state government. So what are the changes happen once the GST is introduced? So we have an introduction to GST. These are just for reference actually. You will not get any questions on explain the introduction of GST or briefly write about introduction of GST. These kind of questions you will not find. GST is a more ambitious and remarkable indirect tax reforms in Indian post-independence history. Post-independence means it happened after 1947. Before that we had tax. It was implemented by British people. Now, the only one tax for one nation, that is GST, which started from 2017. Now, the objective is to levy a single nation uniform tax across India on all goods and services. For all the goods and services, we have one tax, that is called GST. As I told you, there are 2 things there. One is tax on goods and tax on services. It differs actually. Goods, physically we can see that. Services, the service you can feel. Next, GST has replaced a number of central and state taxes. As I told you in the previous session, unit number 1, I listed out all the taxes which are replaced, and there are few taxes are there which are merged with GST. Then, by improving efficiency, it can add substantially to growth as well as government finances. Implementing a new tax encompassing both goods and services. There are efficiency. Compared to your previous tax calculation, it was complex. Means it was difficult to calculate. Now there is only one tax, so the rule is simple as well as to calculate, it is easy. Now, under introduction, we have the essentially a tax only on value addition. Only value addition means very simple. For example, if you take any goods, the value will be added. Value will be added means it is very simple. If you manufacture a car cannot be manufactured within a day. Yes, it is not possible because there are so many procedures are there. You have to build an engine, then you have to construct a complete outer structure, then you have to do the painting, the seats, the tires, all this thing. Then you have to check whether it is working properly, and you have to say all the safety measures. Value is added day by day. Hope you are clear. Value is added day by day. When the value is added, finally every value we are calculating taxes. Now, with the introduction of GST, a continuous chain of set off from the original producer point and service provider point up to the retailer's level has been established, eliminating the burden of all cascading. Cascading means, always remember, it is a double taxation, tax twice. So because of GST, they have completely avoided, nullified the cascading effect. There is the essence of GST. There is a major essence of GST. Now, GST taxes only the final consumer. See, cascading means what? The first person pay the tax, second person, third person, fourth person. No. Under GST, the final person who consumes the product who will pay the tax. So that only one person is paying tax. Then, cascading of taxes, tax on tax is avoided. So there is no tax on tax. Now, as already noted, prior to the introduction of GST, the indirect tax system of India suffered from various limitations. Limitation in the sense disadvantages. Because of GST, many disadvantages are removed. Now, the introduction part, it is continued. It is only for understanding purpose. You will not get anything in the examination. But by knowing this, you can understand what is GST. Now, there was a burden of tax on tax. See, cascading, it is avoided. Then, GST has taken burden. It swings on profusion of indirect tax, the central and the state. Whatever tax is collected, that will be splitted, divided for state as well as central, because the only revenue to the government is tax. The whatever tax is collected, it has to go to the central government also, it has to go to the government also. Then, there is now continuous chain of set off which would eliminate the burden of all cascading. Already I explained about cascading. And then uniformity in tax rate. See, as I told you in the previous session, if a 4 years child also can go and buy any product, pay the same tax. Even if I go and pay for that product means I will also pay the same tax. There is no differentiation, depends on people. Same tax burden on all the people. So these are the points. It is all about the major introduction part of GST. And silent features of GST. The first one, supply as the base. Second one, destination, dual GST. So these are the three major silent features. GST would be applicable on supply. If you supply the goods, then GST will be charged. If you are not supplying, if you are not selling the goods, holding with you, no need to pay the tax. Then destination, where the goods are sold, whether within Karnataka, outside Karnataka, or in the union territories, all these will be considered, that will be called as place of supply. Then dual GST, the central and the state would simultaneously levy tax on common base. The GST to be levied by the central would be called central GST. That we call it as CGST. So simultaneously we can do CGST and GST. GST again it comes under CGST and SGST. Central as well as state. The next part will be again the silent features from the fourth point. It is interstate supply. There are two things are there. One is intrastate, one more is interstate. If you are selling the goods within the state, we call it as intrastate. Then CGST and SGST will come. If you are selling the product from one state to another state, then it will attract IGST, Integrated Goods and Service Tax. Central taxes summed. So whatever the central taxes are there, it is summed with whatever you have collected in the state. The total will be called as the total revenue of central government. Then state taxes subsummed. See, central taxes subsummed. Similarly, the state taxes also subsummed. In this, you no need to remember all the points, only the headings you have to remember. If they ask you for 2 marks, the silent features of GST, you have to write any 4 points. Then applicability. It is applicable for all kind of people, all the products. Depends on, there are few products are there which are exempted. As I told you, egg comes under GST exemption. Vegetable comes under GST exemption. Milk comes under GST exemption. Some khadi products are there that comes under GST exemption. Few scientific research purpose, if you use that product, that will be exempted. Then exports. If in case of export, again IGST will come. It is 0 rated. Why? Because we have a separate tax called custom duty. Custom duty will be taxed on all the import and exports. Then input tax credit, we also call it as ITC. Input tax credit means if you paid excess tax, extra tax, that will be called as credit. That credit can be used for further use. The next one, the Constitutional Amendment Act as per 101, 101st. So 101st, on 8th September 2016, Constitution to 101st Amendment Act. This is all about to introduce GST. As I told you, the work behind GST started from 2000, but officially it is declared on 2017. Now, concurrent powers on Parliament and State Legislature. As per the Article 246, we have 4 kinds of taxes under GST, CGST, IGST, SGST and UTGST. So in this, IGST will be appropriated on a portion between central and state. As I told you, IGST is for state as well as central. So similarly, you have GST and similarly you have IGST. These are the major constitutional amendments for 101. So again, constitutional amendments, as I told you, these are not much important for your examination, but for the understanding purpose, they have included in the syllabus. Included in the syllabus means we must have the knowledge about that. No need to mug up, just understand the concept. Now, so the powers of levy central and excise duty. So taxes on the powers levy central and excise duty on goods manufactured or production in India is available in respect of the following product like petroleum, high-speed diesel, motor spirit, natural gas, aviation, tobacco, all this. However, once GST is imposed, there will be no duty on manufacture of these goods. Now, I'll tell you one simple logic now. Usually we get fuel at present. At present, the fuel price is how much? 101 rupee. If you pay 101 or 102, it differs actually. Place wise, it differs. If you go to Kerala, Tamil Nadu, the prices are higher than Karnataka because Karnataka is giving subsidy on fuel charges. Now, assume that the fuel price is 102 rupee. Will not go 101. 102 rupee. Approximate I'll go, I don't go exactly. Now, are we paying 102 for fuel? The answer is no. You're paying fuel is very less amount. What is a less amount? See, in this, before GST, earlier the tax was called as VAT. VAT, you're paying 21 rupee. How much VAT you're paying? 21 rupee. One more, excise duty. You're paying 19.9. Almost it is 20 rupees. How much you're paying excise? 20. And we have to give a commission to all the fuel station because they have to maintain the place. They have to pay the rent for that place, and they have to pay salary for all the employees, workers there. For that, for them, we have to pay them 3.5 to 4 rupee as charges, like commission. We can call it as commission. Each liter, the fuel station will get 4 rupee commission. Now, assume that how much you are paying for VAT? 21. How much you are paying for excise duty? 20. How much you are paying for commission? 4. The total price comes around 45. Now see, plus 57. The answer is 102. Now tell me, what is the price of fuel? Yes, the price of 1 liter fuel is 57 rupee. Hope you are clear. How much is the price of 1 liter fuel in Karnataka? The value is 57. But how much we are paying? 102. Why we are paying 102? VAT comes, excise duty comes, and brokerage or commission will come. All put together, it will become 102. We are paying around 45 rupees additionally. If these charges are cancelled, your fuel price is only 57 rupees. Similarly, it applies for diesel also. It also will get it for around 47 to 48 rupees 1 liter diesel. Clear? Yes. So this is all about your taxes, and the power to impose tax on sale of the following product is still provided to the state government. There are few things are there like petrol, high speed motor, this thing and all. Central government will not involve. Only the state government have all the rights to impose tax on this product. Then GST covers all the goods except alcoholic liquor for human consumption. See, there is a separate tax on alcohol and liquor. That's why GST will not come under alcohol and liquor. GST is not chargeable on this. We have a separate tax, excise. Then it means GST can levy on alcoholic liquor for human consumption. No GST. Remember, there is no GST on alcohol content. Now, alcohol for human consumption. The same alcohol, we can use it for medical purpose also. Some other reason also, there GST comes. Then, present system of state excise duty and sales tax on alcohol, liquor for human consumption will continue. Whatever the earlier system was there, that continues. GST will not affect these things. So these are the Central Goods and Service Tax Bill on 2017, Integrated Goods and Service Tax Bill 2017. These things just to remember, no need to mug up or learn. Remember this date. When the GST is implemented, 1st July 2017. Now, what is GST? Now, almost 90% you know that what is GST, what comes under GST, what are the features of GST, and why GST is implemented. Everything you know. First one is cascading, means to avoid double taxation. And there were multiple tax slabs were there, multiple taxes were there. Everything made into one tax, one rule, one nation. That is called your GST. Now, what is GST? GST is a value-added tax. GST is destination-based consumption tax. GST offers comprehensive and continuous. And GST is a burden borne by final consumer. It eliminates cascading. It is a uniform taxation. As I told you, from 0 to 100 years, everybody pay the same tax, and even a poor to rich, rich to poor will pay the same tax. That is called as uniform tax structure. Now, what is GST? Tax on supply of goods, value-added tax, then destination-based. The place also matter. That is only called as place of supply. Offers comprehensive, burden borne by final consumer, eliminate cascading, bring uniform tax. These are the concept of GST. And advantages. This is important for your examination purpose. Now, it removed many taxes, as I told, VAT, CST, then service tax, CAD, SAD, and excise. All these taxes are removed and GST is introduced. Removal of cascading. Cascading word you have to remember. Why? Because the main purpose of GST is to avoid double taxation. Cascading means double taxation. Then increase ease of doing business. Lower cost of production. It will boost export of manufacturing. And one nation, one tax. If you want to debate about GST, these are the points very useful for debate purpose. But in the examination purpose, these informations are not required. But for your reference, please read once so that it will be easy for you. Now see, this is a major part. Extension to Jammu and Kashmir. There are Jammu and Kashmir, we get, again I told you now, union territories. Again the separate taxation will be there. Then, so these are the your GST models actually. In this dual GST model, SGST, CGST, IGST. Where SGST comes, S means always remember state. State GST collected by the state. CGST, central GST collected by central. IGST, integrated GST collected by the central government on interstate supply of goods. As I told you, any sales happen from one state to another state, we always go with IGST. Then dual GST model, as I told you, what is dual GST model? I'll come back to this. This is called dual. Dual means more than one. We have SGST, CGST as well as IGST. So these are the dual GST model. Central Goods Service Tax, CGST and IGST. Union Territory Goods and Service Tax, UTGST. Remember, these are all your 2-mark question. They may ask you types of GST. Then you should write IGST, SGST, then this one, UTGST. Then UTGST levied and collected by union territories without state legislature in intrastate. Supplies of taxable goods or services are both India and union state. So you have to remember this only for 2 marks. Then GST in union territories without legislation. The rule and regulation differs compared to your GST. Like CGST, SGST, IGST. Now, so which are called as union territories? Yeah, that is also important actually. We can call it as GK, general knowledge, like Lakshadweep, Diu Daman, then Andaman, Ladakh, Chandigarh. So these are example of your union territories. Yes. So these are the difference between IGST, CGST, SGST and UTGST. Remember, IGST, interstate. Interstate means one state to another state. It is levied by central government, collected central government and state government, the benefiting authority, and IGST, CGST, SGST. These are the priority to use input tax credit. Input tax credit, I'll go in detail while doing that particular topic. Right now, we'll talk only about your CGST, SGST and IGST. Then your CGST, it is an interstate. Interstate means again one state to another state, and central government, and this is called as the credit availability of your central and state. This we will do it in detail while doing your input tax credit practical problems. These are the same thing. While doing your practical problems, I can explain you. Now, distribution of IGST and CGST, how you will distribute. As I told you, wherever comes your IGST, it always goes to state and central. Equally, we have to divide. So, half portion will go to state and half portion will go to central. So these are the advantages of dual GST. These are not much important for examination, but for your reference, you have to read it once. The same advantages when you use under GST advantages, the same advantages, same points you can use it for dual GST advantages. So this is all about your dual GST advantages, and you can explain like increased tax revenue. The only revenue to the government is what? Tax. The tax revenue is increased with the help of GST because larger tax base. As I told you, one nation, one tax, that is called GST. These are the points just for the reference, not for examination. Impact of GST, the same thing. Impact on the country. So what is the impact on the country? As I told you, the only impact on country is revenue generation. The major revenue is collected from the help of GST, and that is a major source of income. So impact on the central government, the same thing as I told you, the CST is 2% according to the state government. See, there are percentage, it differs from year to year based on the whatever the amendments they made under GST. So these are the impact as I told you just for your reference. Yes, again, these points no need to remember, just you have to read it once for your reference. Again, the impact of service provider. Who are the service provider? As I told you, all the transportation are service provider, all telecommunication are service provider, all the entertainment sectors comes under service provider, all the education sector comes under service provider, doctors, lawyers, all comes under chartered accountant, all comes under service provider. Now, trader means what? Where the buying and selling happens, that we call it as traders. Now, impact on agriculture sector. On agriculture sector, most of the part, it is completely exempted. As I told you, once if it is converted to next, if they done any value addition, then tax should be levied. The next session we will understand in your unit 2 only, the more definition part. Definition part we will learn in next session. This is all about your today's session, your unit number 2 and session 1. We understood what is double taxation, what is a dual GST model. So these are the concepts you have to remember. The most of the topics which are not relevant for your examination, but for understanding purpose, these are very important. But advantages of GST is a major topic in this particular session. Thank you.